directories in the console, right? Like so, if you go to your terminal where you pick Docker Compose up, you can look for pipelines-Jupyter, and it will have a token in there. That token is essentially the password to log into Jupyter for when it starts. So look for that token or that URL, and look for 127.0.0.1, not the other weird UUID thing that's in there. Look for that exact URL, and you're good to go. So this is again why I taught these concepts earlier, because you need to know what a host name is, you need to know what localhost is, etc. Right? So look for that local URL with that token already in there, and then that will allow you to get to here, right? And then what you need to do is you actually need to go to upload now, and then when you go to Pipelines directory, you're going to see server with metrics, whatever, client-notebook. Upload that. So why do you have to upload it? It's because, as I mentioned earlier with like virtual machines and things like that, it's its own machine. Even though it's local, it's actually its own remote machine that's isolated and everything. It's as if it was remote. That's the whole point of using something like Docker. It doesn't know where it's running. It's just running transparently in its own self-contained environment. That's the whole point of using something like this. Like, so what you have to do is, since it doesn't know, it only knows about what you tell it. So if you want, so for example, how did we, earlier, somehow we were able to get input data into the container. We did that with something called a volume. A volume is basically a path you mount into the container itself. So we only know, so the container only knows about what you specify with the volume. So it's basically a named mapping from host to container. Right? Like, so you have to specify a volume, otherwise everything is isolated. That's why you have to do a file upload. Right? Like, so it's literally its own kind of semi-remote machine. Virtual machines are similar. You have to generally in like VMware or what have you, it's something similar where you have to specify like shared volumes and things like that. It's a similar idea, right? So what we did is in Docker Compose has you in the file has you specify a volume mapping where it says mount input data into USR share input data, right? That's how it's able to start everything. So in our case, because of that, we're just going to upload client notebook. So why am I advocating for that? Why am I storing it locally? It's because containers disappear. They are not reliable and should not be used for storing data. They disappear. They're purely for hosting application software. That's it. They're not for storing data. Do not use them. Do not and never use them for storing data. If you're an actual infrastructure person, professional infrastructure person, I'll debate with you about the caveats, and I can give you some recommendations. But in general, if you're a beginner, just know don't store data in containers. Always get it out somehow, or use a local value, as I mentioned earlier, right? Like so, like I said, in Docker Compose, in the Docker Compose file, you'll just see a volumes declaration in there. That's what you use. So in Jupyter, what I could have did, for example,